Hey guys, I'm Jordan and you're watching Fixbook. After watching this video, your car problems stand about as much a chance as this laptop does against my hot lead. Now, make sure you stay tuned so you can see what happened to the laptop at the end of this video. And as always, don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave a comment down below. So today I'm going to show you how to find a coolant leak and how to go about looking for a coolant leak, what to do to kind of determine your problem and figure it out. So let's go ahead and take a look. Alright, and the only tool I used in today's project was a flashlight, so just make sure you have a good flashlight that works well, and that's all you really need. Okay guys, so the first thing I'm going to talk about is an invisible coolant leak, and I imagine we've basically got two types of people here looking for what kind of leak they got. We've got someone looking for an internal leak and an external leak. Now, if you don't see fluid on the ground and you're suspecting that you have an engine coolant leak, then the first thing you're going to want to do is, if you have this style right here, you're going to want to take off this radiator cap, make sure the vehicle is cool, and we'll take it off here. When you take this cap right off right here, there's going to be fluid right at the top. If there's not fluid right at the top for this style radiator and cap type system, then that would indicate there is a problem, because unless you just flush your coolant and it's still doing its thing, or you didn't bleed it properly, then there should be no reason that the coolant is not right here at the top touching the radiator. Mine is actually hot, so I won't take it off, but okay guys, and I came back here just to show you because I figured someone would get mad if I didn't actually take my cap off. So I'm gonna take this cap off here and just kind of show you what you're looking for. And I actually already looked this over, and it actually does concern me a little bit. This is kind of what you would see when you might have this kind of problem, and this is my car. So we're looking in here. Man, we got some wind, sorry guys. So we're looking here, and it's really below the minimum mark that it needs to be. And then when I show you here, I took my thing off again, make sure it's cool when you do this, and that is, I'm not happy with that. That's not what it needs to be. It needs to be up right here on that first ridge. So like what you're seeing here, I stuck my finger down in there a little bit and I touched it. You really want it higher than that. You don't want it even that low. So this concerns me a little bit. So with all that said, we'll continue on here with the video. Now we're gonna move to the other car, and I'm gonna show you the other type style we've got here. And once I get done letting you know here what we're looking for, if you have an internal leak, I will then show you the process of what we need to do when we know we have an external leak, and we're gonna look there as well. So come with me now to this other car, and I'm gonna show you the same thing, but on the type where you have the expansion tank and that pressure cap there. Okay guys, now we're going to take a look under this hood here, and for this cooling system we have this expansion tank, where it's basically a plastic tank that's under pressure. It's a stupid design if you ask me, but we got this cap here, and this car is nice and cool, so I'm going to go ahead and there we go. So basically here, the reason I'm opening this is because it's really hard to tell. We've got these older expansion tanks where the fluid level is at in here, and we have like a hot and cold line, and we want to make sure that our expansion tank is going to be full. And this is again where we're concerned about an internal leak. So first we're going to just make sure that our fluid level is where it needs to be. And if I can ever get this cap off. And the other thing you want to check for, guys, is when you do think you have an internal leak, if there's white smoke coming out of the tailpipe. Maybe it might just be when you start it up, or it could be after you're running a little while, or when you really punch it and give it some gas and you blow a big cloud of white smoke. That would also be an indicator that we are having an internal consumption problem with the coolant there. So I'm just going to look down in here. I'll bring the camera so you guys can see too. Okay, so here we are. It's a little difficult to see, but the fluid level is probably right where my finger's at right there, which is well above the full line, so we're not going to have a problem here or with the other car I showed you as far as internal leaks there. And also, both of these cars don't have a coolant leaking problem, but the reason I'm bringing this up is because this car, this woman thought that she did have a coolant problem, but really all it was her blower motor was not working properly. And that's why it's always important to verify the customer complaint, because she thought that since her blower motor, the air wasn't actually blowing, she thought that she may have a coolant problem because her heat wasn't working. So that's why it's just important to make sure you know exactly what's going on here. So next, I'm gonna show you what you want to do when you're actually inspecting the car for an external leak. Okay guys, and before I talk about the external leaks, I just wanted to summarize so I make it real clear what you're looking for when you're looking for or chasing down an internal leak. You want to check your coolant level, and if it's a radiator cap design where you got that radiator cap on, when the car is cool, you want to remove that cap, and there should be fluid right at the top of the radiator. So when you take it off, you should actually have like little coolant drips because your cap was wet because it was touching it. That is very important. If you don't see the coolant, then you're having a coolant issue because the coolant's low in the radiator, and that's no good. And for this style where we got the expansion tank, you're just going to want to make sure the fluid level is full, and also check that coolant reservoir on that radiator cap style as well. And the other thing was the white smoke. If you're blowing white smoke, maybe you punch it and you have the white smoke. If you're riding down the road and you can't see the car behind you because you have white smoke, it's a definite indicator of a blown head gasket, and it's not going to be drivable much longer after that. But there is cases where we can have a consumption problem and we can fix it with like a steel seal or an Advance, I think it's called Blue Devil head gasket sealer. There's things like that where we can fix just a minor little leak like that. So now I'm gonna tell you what we need to do when we're looking for an exterior leak. First thing we're gonna want to do is go ahead and heat up the car, make sure it's good and hot. Okay guys, so here I am. We're gonna want to make sure the car is good and hot, and we're gonna keep it running. Now, ideally, what we'd like to do is we'd like to have a coolant pressure tester, but chances are, since you're a do-it-yourselfer kind of fixer person, you're not gonna have that tool on hand. So we can reproduce the same kind of conditions that the coolant pressure tester would allow us to do without having the car hot. So what you'll want to do is go ahead, like I said, get your car good and hot, and then we will begin to search for the dripping on the ground. So we'd go beneath the car here. Like I was saying, we'd go beneath the car here with our flashlight, and we're gonna identify the area where it's dripping. And the first thing we'll do is we'll just kind of look up and see if we can't see what it's dripping from below. And then we're gonna come back up top and we're gonna take note of where the coolant is dripping, and we're gonna use that imaginary spot, and we're gonna come up top and see if we can't find out where it's dripping from up top. Okay guys, so now I've came up with an imaginary example of a possible leak. So let's say we lay down on the ground and we looked underneath the car, and instead of seeing it under the hood area somewhere, we actually saw it dripping down here, and it was coolant, and that was really weird. Okay, so you didn't see where it was coming from, you just saw the dripping, it was dripping down there. So then we're gonna come up here and we're gonna take a look. Now what I found here is we have a heater core hose sitting right there. There's two of them. There's also one there sitting on the other side. Now, if that heater core hose was to leak, what it could actually do is the water could run down, because what coolant likes to do is it likes to stick to whatever it's leaking down from, and it likes to ride it. So we can see there the body piece of the car, it rounds down and it curves down and it goes down. So if the coolant was leaking from there, it could potentially be dropping somewhere down there. Now you're going to want to use this principle when you're searching for your external leak, because the water, it may not be dripping directly vertically above. Where the leak is at may not necessarily be directly vertically below. It may have traveled somewhere. So you want to kind of use this principle when searching for that external coolant leak. Well, there's not much more I can say about finding an external coolant leak in your car. It's really simple. Just make sure you use a good flashlight and you look everywhere. That's pretty much all there is to it. I would go way more in depth about this, but that's pretty much all there is. So I thank you guys for watching. I hope you find your coolant leak, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, guys, and don't forget to subscribe so you can catch all my new videos, which publish Mondays and Fridays at 9 a.m. Pacific Time, 10 a.m. Mountain Time, 11 a.m. Central Time, 12 p.m. Eastern Time, and I will see you then.